Yeah. And Dentsu Inc. is known for its unique business solutions beyond advertising, combining resources and assets available from various stakeholders such as sports federations, content holders, governmental agencies, and startups. And among the startups that we work with is ispace, a space startup. And today we're going to talk about the unique values and benefits collaborating with a space startup can create for our clients. So please take a look at this video first.
The universe's newest city is home to 1,000 people. And every year, over 10,000 come to visit. Only 20 years ago, this city didn't exist. It's the result of pioneers sending rovers, then discovering water. The hydrogen and oxygen separated from water becomes energy, creating the foundation for a fuel station. And with the fuel station came scheduled flights, followed by settlers. Soon, settlers required more diverse skills, attracting new specialists for construction, steel, communications, energy, transit, agriculture, medicine, and more. People travel from far and wide to see this new city. We call it Moon Valley. The moon is the new staging ground for your next level business. Expand our planet. Expand our future. ispace.
Now let me introduce Aaron Sorensen from ispace and Mitsuhiko Goto from Dentsu Inc.
Thank you. Yes, hi, I'm Aaron Sorensen. So I do global communications out of ispace, based in the Tokyo headquarters, and I also help with new business development.
Hello, my name is Mitsuhiko Goto. I'm from Dentsu in Tokyo. I lead the Dentsu team for ispace.
Okay, thank you. And Aaron, will you tell us what ispace is all about and what it aims to do?
Yeah, so ispace is a lunar exploration company. We're making space robotics, essentially to explore the moon. So this is the technology that we're developing. We're making a lunar lander, which is this tall one, and then a lunar rover, which is down on the bottom here. So the lunar lander is what can actually transport things to the moon. It's a spacecraft that's like a delivery system to the moon. And then the rover is what actually surface explores on the moon. So our first mission to the moon will be in 2021, and that will be a landing mission on the lunar surface. We'll be using SpaceX for that mission. So to show you one more short video real quick to show you exactly how this mission will look. So Hakuto R is the name of our program. Just like NASA has the Apollo program going to the moon, we have Hakuto R. And as I mentioned, we'll take a Falcon 9 rocket from Florida using SpaceX. And what will happen is we'll be inside of the top part of the fairing of that rocket with our lander. It's a very small lander, so it can fit inside here as a secondary payload, which is much cheaper cost. Once we get into Earth's orbit, we come out of the rocket. So this is our lander with the legs folded. And then it starts to use a propulsion system which transfers from Earth's orbit to the lunar orbit. This could take anywhere from 2 years to 4 months. And then we land on the moon. So that gives you an idea of what it would look like. As I mentioned, the key purpose that's going back to the moon is for water. So I don't know if you know, but recently in the past decade, there's been discovered that there's an enormous amount of water frozen in the moon. And the thing about the water is that the H2O can be, mentioned here, the H2O can be divided into hydrogen and oxygen. That hydrogen can be used as fuel. And fuel is what could enable an entire industry to develop on the moon. So our business is to help other Earth businesses see the moon as an extension of their business, essentially to expand the Earth's economy to the moon. The industry on the moon can have every single sector you can think of, and we want to work with all of these companies to help them see the opportunity that they can bring their business to the moon. So every sector you can think of, we can be a vehicle for them to go to the moon.
Thank you, Aaron. Now, Goto-san, can you tell us why and how Dentsu, an ad agency, came to work with ispace?
Yes, I remember the first time I met the team from ispace was 5 years ago. We had a lunch meeting near Tokyo Tower, and at that time, the company had only a few employees. They asked us to consider using them as a client solution. We said yes and invested in them. We transferred some of our human resources, provided marketing expertise, and in return obtained exclusive partnership sales rights and client activation opportunities, and together considered what to offer our clients. We proposed individual solutions for one company after another. Incidentally, Dentsu is also discovering new clients' needs in the process. The ispace office is about 5 minutes away by car from Dentsu. We have meetings every day, just like any other company. And we are doing our best to ensure our future missions and client solutions are a success. As a result, ispace now has nearly 100 employees, supported activation for over 30 companies, raised over 100 million US dollars. They were selected to our NASA program and signed launch contract with SpaceX.
Thank you. And do you think space business actually makes sense for ad agencies? And can space actually provide any benefits for our clients?
To answer both of these questions, yes, of course. Advertising companies should collaborate with space business, and space should also be one of the solutions we offer our clients. As is our nature, we have always developed and implemented various solutions for our clients. Therefore, it is only natural that we provide space as a solution too.
Okay, Aaron, can you elaborate on the benefits and solutions that the space market can provide to our clients?
Yes, of course. So when we first started working with Dentsu, it was during a competition called the Google Lunar X Prize competition. That's actually the origin of our company. So at the time, we were trying to build a rover that would go to the moon. The competition was to be the first private company that goes to the moon and travels on the surface with a rover. And this was the rover. It was called Serato, and the program was called Hakuto. So listed here are all of the partners for that program, and Dentsu helped us to get all of these partners. And although it might look like just a logo placement, actually it's much deeper than that. So this was the really kind of extremely unique, very new, novel type of idea for sponsorships. It's not just logo placement, but more of a synergy with these companies. I'll give you a few examples. So as I mentioned, more than logo placement, you have things like joint technology development, which a lot of these companies did for the rover. They provided something to our mission. Production of original content. They were able to use our contents to create their own promotional materials. Do events and campaigns, especially for like children, like to encourage STEM education or to inspire young people. And of course, brand exposure. So we do things like we wear the uniform with the logos on it, and we have the logos on side of the spacecraft as well. And many other things. For example, they can name the mission or they can name the hardware itself. There's lots of merits to the sponsorship. I'd like to show just two examples. So one was Zoff. Zoff is a Japanese glasses maker. And you might think, like, how does a B2C company collaborate with a space company? So this is just an example of one of the commercials they made. And essentially, the glasses were made with the same material that the rover's wheels were made of. And so what they did was they took the glasses and they put it through all the same simulations that the rover has to go through before it goes to the moon, like launch, vibration testing, pressure testing, strength testing, all these kinds of things, heat resistant. And the glasses were so strong and durable that they actually survived all those tests. And then Zoff created a limited edition called Moon Quality Glasses in Japan, which sold out completely. And it was a very short-term ROI for the company. They didn't have to wait until we launched to get that ROI. They got it immediately. Another example was Semidyne, it's an adhesive company. Not a very sexy company, not very interesting, but yet they were able to do something very exciting for their company. Because we had to do this mission at a very low cost, we had to take, basically every kilogram is like millions of dollars, so you have to take as much weight as possible off the rover. What we did was, instead of having screws for the solar panels, we decided to glue it on with Semidyne's glue. That took a lot of weight off the rover, and it gave them a story. And they actually increased sales by 150% in store. Again, very short-term ROI. So that was our strategy, is to be able to decrease that time that our sponsors will be able to get the benefit from partnering with us. So these are our new partners for our upcoming mission in 2021. We already have 3 partners. As you can see here, we have Japan Airlines, a very famous company, Mitsui Sumitomo Insurance, which is part of MSNAD Insurance Group, and NGK Sparkplug, which is famous for creating the spark plugs for a lot of Formula One racers. They all have a very unique story that's aligned with our mission and aligned with the vision that I shared a moment ago, which was to be able to bring business to the moon and to create a new economy on the moon. So, for example, Mitsui Sumitomo is going to create the first lunar insurance. Right now, insurance doesn't exist beyond Earth's orbit. You can get insurance for satellites, you can get insurance for rocket launches, but nothing beyond. And there's tons of companies just like us who are trying to go to the moon, and there will be no insurance for that. So they will be able to mitigate that risk for companies like ours, enabling more players to enter the industry. NGK Sparkplug is actually creating a battery which will help our rover and our lander be able to survive the lunar night. So it gets extremely cold on the lunar surface, and current batteries will freeze and not be able to operate when the sun comes back. So they want to be able to use our missions as a platform for their R&D to create a battery that will work eventually without the need for like atomic energy, et cetera. And Japan Airlines is a technical partner of ours. They're providing a facility next to Narita Airport where they build their planes for us to be able to build our lander.
I think we can call this kind of thing space marketing, but do you think space marketing is becoming common in the world?
Absolutely. And I'd like to say we were one of the first obviously space advertising has been around for a long time, but we were one of the first when it comes to this type of really more in-depth sponsorship, not just logo placement, but having a real story with these companies where they benefit. But I will show you a few other areas where it's really becoming a trend. So this is actually our competitor in America, and they have a partner which is DHL, because again, we're trying to create like a delivery service to the moon, so DHL seized that opportunity. And they have a really unique platform where regular people like us can send very small things to the moon. So you can go onto the website and you can be able to identify what weight, how much it would cost, and you can send something to the moon. That was one example of a partnership. That was in America. In Germany, another one of our competitors is doing this. This is a German company. They're partnered with Audi for the small vehicle, for the rover, and also with Vodafone for their lander, which Vodafone wants to bring 4G to the moon. With this industry that's showing up on the moon, they need to have the ability to communicate. So that was Germany. And then also in China, this car company is also partnering with another Chinese space company. So the point is there's a lot of commercial sector partnerships with public sector, but also with private sector, commercial companies like ours, that are seizing the opportunity to align with these space companies in a way that adds value to their brand. And even NASA last fall said they might consider having sponsorships for their missions. They might have companies name their missions or put logos on their rockets and that kind of thing. So it's really, with this, I think it's going to create a lot of waves, and this is going to be a trend that really takes off.
And what kind of a future collaboration can we think of?
Sorry.
You can go ahead.
Yeah, so we can do all kinds of things. Basically, like I mentioned, every sector there's something that we can consider, because there will be an opportunity in the future for these companies, and they should be getting in now to be able to be the leader of their business going to the moon, just like Mitsui Sumitomo will be the only insurance company capable of understanding how lunar insurance would work. Just a few examples for brands. For example, we could bring whiskey to the moon as more like a marketing campaign, and it could be the moon-aged whiskey. So by the time the first humans go back to live on the moon, it'll be sitting there waiting for them. That could be something that we do. Another thing we could do is work with like VR companies or entertainment companies. Our rover is going to have a 360-degree HD camera, color camera, on the rover, so it'll be able to capture the whole surrounding as well as the terrain mapping, just like Google Maps. And that's something that media companies can buy and create games out of, or video content, or you could put it in movies. This is something that companies can think about doing. Skincare. These are just a few examples, but skincare. I mean, the most extreme temperatures and the most extreme conditions are in space. The lunar environment has extreme heat during the daytime and extreme cold during the nighttime, and radiation and all other kinds of hazards. If you were to have let's say like a skincare company, use our missions to identify the best way to make the most protective cream, that would be better than anything on the planet. And they could use this, saying, you can definitely count on our product.
Thank you, Aaron and Galto-san. I'm sure everybody now understands the importance and the value of space marketing, which is like innovative branding and even technology and product development. And if you think this innovative image of space marketing suits your brand image, but if you don't know how to link them, that's where Dentsu comes into play with our creativity. So now I'd like to open for Q&A. Any questions? No questions? Okay, then if you have any questions later, okay, good, please go ahead.
Hi, this has been fascinating. Thank you so much. I think it's a sort of general question. How much investment is this going to actually take to deliver that vision in 2040?
Sure. So a few ways to answer that. One is the reason that we're able to start doing this in the first place is because the price of getting to space has dropped dramatically. So originally it would cost like $350 million just for a rocket launch with NASA. SpaceX, Elon Musk's company, has brought that price down to like $75 million and is continuing to drop. Over the next years, it's going to become extremely cheap to get to space. Another thing is that the components to build these kinds of spacecraft are becoming more commercially available. So we're able to build a lander at a fraction of a cost of what it would normally cost. And we're also able to make it much smaller so that we can put it at a very low cost on the rocket. So first, the price is going down. And right now, roughly speaking, one lunar mission is about $50 million, roughly. And that price will continue to drop as we go on. And as we learn more and as we master our technology, we'll be able to do it on a much higher frequency. So I hope that answers the question. Essentially, it's still expensive, but nowhere near what it used to be, and it will continue to get lower, of course.
Thanks. It's so interesting. I think it was a competitor that you flagged that had a Vodafone sponsorship, which is to do with getting the services up there, getting coverage up there, a bit more like the insurance example. Is it a priority to, especially in terms of like the goals of the goals of the mission, rather than just marketing, to get partners like that, partners that can bring more meaningful stuff to the moon?
Exactly, and it actually helps us. That's what we need. So telecoms is like communications is like the lifeline of a space mission. You need to be able to communicate to the rover and to the lander and back to Earth. If you can't communicate, if you lose that communication, then the mission's over. So it's critical to have a clear and strong line of communication at all times. Same with like solar energy, many things. So yeah, so having partnerships that enable that is definitely key to our mission, and it will be key for future missions and all for industry to develop in the future.
Thank you. This is an amazing session. If we think back about like the space race in the 60s and the 50s, the leaps we took forward in technology to get to that point were incredible. Do you think, and again, thinking back to the competitors you've mentioned, do you think that's a healthy competition that's pushing you further and further forward? Do you see it not just sort of a race to be there first? Do you think it's an ongoing process to continually make gains as a species, I guess?
Yeah, so competition is definitely very important for this industry, and that's what pushes us forward. It was thanks to the Google Lunar X Prize competition, which is why we are where we are. So without that competition, we wouldn't have all these companies in this market forming. We wouldn't be where we are. We wouldn't have gotten that fame. So just the concept of a race is what really gets people excited, and it gets people behind. So it's great to have these competitors around the world because in a way we're more like peers. We're only helping lift each other up. If you're just one company, then people think, okay, great, you got a crazy dream. But when you've got many people doing it, there's something real there. There's actual an economy taking place. So for sure.
Question?
When it comes to that development process, you've got sort of tight deadlines, right? You're going for that 2020. When you're working alongside those other companies and you've got that horizontal approach, do you see that being a burden, like collaborating with them? Because it does, like, you need to streamline that process, right, as you try and remain competitive. So do you think it's better for someone to go do everything in-house, or do you think it's better to go with these companies that have their own experiences?
I guess it depends what they each bring to the table. But at the very early stages of talking about the partnerships, we identify what's the best case, what's the best way to move forward. So we tend to try to look for partners who will push us forward faster or who will help our mission. From a marketing side, it's incredible for us because it's multiple channels of getting our story out and getting people excited. And it's just it brings a lot of new ideas to the table as well. I'd say not at all. I wouldn't say it's a burden at all. I'd say if anything, there's only positives.
Any other questions? Okay, then if you come up with any questions later, we'll be around here, so please come to us. Thank you very much.